What's causing all this? Woo!
Put Scooter on the phone, you bird brain.
What do you do, backflips? You jump up there in a silly suit? What do you do?
You go BAM! I want you to play that.
Hey, what's up, everybody? Welcome to another episode of Fast Freddie Rocks Youngstown from the beautiful Youngstown studios here in downtown Youngstown. And we got a good show coming up here today. First of all, we're going to be talking with Donnie Iris. Donnie's got a show coming up. Donnie and the Cruisers will be playing at the Robbins Theater. And with me in the studio right now is my buddy Haas from Haas and the Juggernauts. And I can't believe all this time we've known each other. This is like the first time we sat down for an interview.
Yeah, man.
So we're going to talk in a little bit, about, what you got going on, what you've been up to, just so, your whole life history, at least your musical history. There's some things we don't really need to know about, or maybe not. Maybe those are the good ones. But you got a gig coming up Saturday night at the Dash Inn.
Yeah, man. We're looking forward to it too, man.
And I know a lot of people are looking forward to that too. They're like, man, Haas is playing out, man. We haven't seen you for a while. So I think there's a lot of people that can't wait to see you back in action.
Man, I really am. COVID did a number on all of us, man. It really, we took a break in the band right before COVID hit because two of us were having babies. And we went to St. Patty's Day. It was supposed to be our first show back in 2019. Boom, bye.
Oh.
Yeah, so
that is like a memory that just sticks in my mind because I was at Magic Tree at the time, and first they canceled the parade, so they had the after parade party scheduled there, and Rudy had all the tents set up and stages and beer trucks and just the whole 9 yards. Yeah, and then they canceled everything, and they said, okay, well they had me come out and play a little bit of music, and that was about it. And then that's when the governor made the announcement that they were shutting everything down, and we were all there, and they said, hey, the governor's coming on. So his whole staff, his whole crew, everybody comes into the back room, and they have this TV on, and then here goes DeWine talking about we're shutting it down tonight at 5:00. And everybody started crying, and then that turned out to be such a big blow because it was 2 years before we got back into that. Could you believe that?
We all lost 2 years. It's incredible.
Yeah. And I really think, and I've been saying this a lot, is I think now people are ready to get out. I think we got this behind us now, and everybody's like, okay. And I think St. Patty's Day this year really kind of got the ball rolling. The parade came back, and all the places that have known for their big St. Patty's Day parties start rocking. And it just seems now that people are like, okay, we've been cooped up. And I think this is going to be actually our first summer in 2 years where people are actually going to be able to get out, and we're going to be able to go to a lot of these shows and stuff.
Like, well, this thing's just like a flu now, and now we can just operate like we do every other day.
Yeah, right. And that was a tough 2 years. So during that 2 years, did you write some songs, or what were you doing? Are you chilling?
Man,
or
I had a 3-month-old. Right.
Hey, it's Fast Freddie.
My daughter was born in December.
Yeah.
December 18th, 19. So like she was 3 months old, and then boom. So I just spent a lot of time with her.
But you know what? That's really cool though. I think it really worked out, and like me, I was laid off, from my other, station. And actually I was really enjoying it other than the COVID because I couldn't travel anywhere. Right. But I'll tell you what, during the time I was laid off and during COVID, I rode my motorcycle more than I ever did. I went fishing more than I ever did, and a lot of outdoor stuff. So I was really enjoying it. Then when I got back on Y103, it was almost kind of like, oh shit, I got to go back to work.
When was the last time you really had a day off?
Seriously. And I'll tell you what, I got so into that groove. It was like, this is freaking awesome, and then when I first started back to work, I was kind of like, oh man, I got to be there. Yeah. Because I was like, day drinking and laying around in my sweats all day. And oh yeah. Well, I got my tea. Well, today I got my Cinco de Mayo beads on here. I got my Cinco de Mayo beads on. So I think we're ready for the interview. How we coming, Joe? Okay, 3 more minutes, and we're going to play back my interview with Donnie Iris, and then we'll come back and we'll talk to Haas and, and just talk about your career, some of the cool places you've played over the years, how you got into it, just the whole 9 yards. So now you got the dash in. Are you plan on doing a lot of gigs? You getting back into it, or what's the deal?
We're doing as many as we can this year. Like now we all have kids. So my bass player, his wife's pregnant, and my guitar player is the second. I've got two. The drummer's got one. And my sax player, he's got a couple. It's just like, man, we're trying to space them out, keep ourselves busy, but not overload our lives.
Right. Yeah. That's a good way to do that. That's a good way to do that because, when you're in a band like that, I mean, it takes a lot. And especially if you want to sound good, and you guys have always sounded great, but when you want to maintain that level of professionalism, it's not like we're practicing while we're on stage at the bar.
Oh, yeah.
And I think there are some bands out there that do that. It's like, oh, well, band practice. Okay, we're going to learn this song here while we're on stage. That don't cut it, man.
No. What we do, we normally send each other ideas through Spotify. We have like an organic list on there that we add and subtract songs from. And then we'll have a phone convo and just be like, all right, we need to learn these 4. And so we'll all on our own time learn those 4, and then we'll come together because it's hard to get a rehearsal to even together. So
yeah.
We plan a rehearsal as we've notched out time, and you got 2-3 hours, and that's it. So you got to get in there, get done, and get out.
Yeah, and that's a good way to do it because now you're not sitting there because you know how band rehearsal goes.
For the guitar player,
right?
For them to find the right note.
Yeah, and then a couple of beers and everything else, and see, this goes with the whole thing with the kids too, because next thing you know, you're looking at your clock and you're going, oh, it's 12:30. How do we get the and it's like, did we even get anything done?
You get a list of messages from the wife going, "You're supposed to be on 4 hours ago."
Yeah,
you're not wrong.
It's like Beth, hey Beth, I hear you calling, but the boys in the band or whatever, however that line goes, exactly. That's how it is, man. The boys are playing all night, and so it's not like the good old days. So I think we're ready with the interview. Okay, we're gonna have a little conversation here with Donnie Iris to get you ready for his show Saturday night at the Robbins Theater in downtown Warren. And then when we wrap up with Donnie, we're going to be back with Haas, and we're going to talk about the Youngstown rock and roll scene and the good old days and just all the fun stuff. So let's take care of Donnie. I think Donnie is here. We're going to have a little bit of the Buffalo Trace, a little bit of espresso, and I think we'll be ready to go. So the second half of the show is really going to kick it in. Nice. Hey, it's Fast Freddie here with my pal Donnie Iris. Right. Donnie and the Cruisers are coming to Robbins Theater in downtown Warren this Saturday night. It is going to be a great show. And if you haven't seen a show at Robbins Theater yet, I strongly urge that you get down there. It is such a great room. Donnie, welcome to the show. How you doing, brother? How you been, man?
Thanks, Freddie. I'm doing good, man. Yeah, I hear Robbins is a great place, man. Yeah, I remember playing there right before COVID. And I'm anxious to get back at it, man.
Yeah, I think the last time you've been around town is when you played with Styx down at the Youngstown Amphitheater.
Yeah, that's right. It was last June or July, I think. But yeah, it looks like we're able to get out and play again, man. Thank God.
Oh, yeah, it's sure great to get back out there and get back to seeing some live music and everybody getting back to work. And it's been a long time coming, man. And I think, I really think this is going to be a bust-out summer. I think everybody has been cooped up for almost 2 years now. And I think everybody is getting ready to bust out and have a good time and get back to the live music.
I hear you, Freddie. I hear you, man. It's been so long. Of course, I've been getting out here lately, going and hearing bands and having a great time, man. So
as a matter of fact, I think
I'm down with it, man.
I think the last time I ran into you was down at Kelly's Island down in Bridgeport.
Yeah, Bridgewater.
Yeah, Bridgewater.
Yeah, Beaver. And it was cool, man. I'm glad to hook up with you again, brother. Yeah, man, that was a nice place. Now, you're from what? Beaver Falls, Elwood City area, right? Yeah, right. I grew up in Elwood, and I spent many years in Beaver Falls.
Boy, an Italian in Elwood City, that had to be a little awkward. You don't find too many Italians in Elwood City.
That's a good one, man. That's all there is in Elwood is Italians.
Do you have any favorite Italian sayings you still like to throw out there every once in a while?
Oh, I got a few of them, but I can't tell you what they are.
Not ones that you can use on the radio. The good ones, huh?
Nope.
That's awesome. Now, Donnie, how did you first get into the music business? What was it that it influenced you? It inspired you?
Well, I'll tell you what. Early on, my mother played piano, and she kind of taught me how to sing when I was real young. And then my voice changed when I was like 12 or 13 or whatever. And, I just thought, hey, I can't do this. It just doesn't sound right. And then when I got into college, I just wasn't, it wasn't for me. You know what I mean? I just wanted to play guitar, and I started practicing guitar while I was supposed to be doing my homework or whatever.
Right.
And I decided to leave, and I went on the road with a group called the Jaggers. That would have been like 1966, something like that, 65 maybe. But I decided that was it, and I was going to pursue music.
So who were some of the bands that influenced you? Some of the people that you...
Well, the normal people, during that time would have been the Beatles and the Stones and, those kind of bands. But I liked all the stuff that Motown was putting out. Marvin Gaye was always my favorite singer of all time. And all those people have influences on me. I just grew up around a lot of different types of music. All of them had pretty much some kind of influence with me.
I can still remember hearing the Jaggers and the Rapper for like the first time on WHOT. Mm-hmm. I can remember Boots Bell playing that song, and that was just a song that just jumped right out of the speakers, jumped right out of the radio.
Yeah, I hear you, man. Those were the days. That happened we recorded in 1969, and it became a hit in like March of 70. So that was quite a time, man. It was just so much fun.
Now, I remember you used to play a place called The Apartment here in Youngstown back in the day. You have any memories of The Apartment or the Freak Out?
Well, you know what, man? There were so many bars and places I played in Youngstown. It's hard for me to remember all that. But I do remember the name of the place. It was The Apartment. We played the Tomorrow Club. We played... what was it called before that? Oh crap, I can't even remember. But Youngstown was always good to me, man. We had a lot of fun in that town. I'll tell you that.
Now, the Tomorrow Club, of course, was like the rock club, especially for all of us growing up at that time, because everybody and their brother played there when they were coming up, whether it was Journey or Kiss or Alice Cooper or Bob Seger or Donnie Iris.
Bon Jovi played there with me one time.
Yeah, how about that? Tell us that story. That's a great story that Bon Jovi kind of adopted you guys, and they were doing their set with Donnie Iris T-shirts, if I recall.
Yeah, they were. They were like they were just coming up, and they were great, man. They opened for us at the Tomorrow Club. Do you remember that?
Yes. Yep.
Yeah, they opened. They were sensational, man. They were good. You could tell they were going places.
Yeah, that was the beauty of that Tomorrow Club, though, man. It was like all these bands, it seemed like you would see them there on a Tuesday night for $2, and it was like a year later, they were the biggest bands out there. They're headlining stadiums and stuff. It was really a crazy time, but such a great club.
Oh, yeah, it was. It for sure was. They sprung a lot of great acts, man. I'll tell you, they were awesome. They were awesome.
Now, what was the Pittsburgh music scene like at that same time too? When you guys were busting out, and what were some of the cool clubs in Pittsburgh, and what was the scene like there in Pittsburgh at this same time?
Well, for years we were playing Pittsburgh clubs. We played, I don't know, we played at least 3 or 4 times a week in Pittsburgh at small clubs. And then when Leah came out, during that period of time, then we played the Stanley Theater. Do you remember that place?
Yes, I do.
Yep, the Stanley Theater. We did a sold-out show. I think it was us and I think Norm Nardini might have been there with me. I can't remember, but yeah, it was a great time, man. Great place to play. Things were busting out all over.
Man, just the great bands in Pittsburgh at that time, and you and Norman and Joe Grishecki. You guys really had that. You really had the scene pumping at that time.
Yep, we did, man. We sure did. There was B.E. Taylor. Remember B.E. Taylor?
Yes.
He was doing a lot of stuff then.
Right.
Yeah, I mean, just one after another bands playing in Pittsburgh. It was a great time, man. It really was.
That really was.
You don't see much of that anymore, man. There's not too much of that.
No, you know,
you know what? I wanted to tell you, man, the Vindies, man, they're like they're happening, aren't they?
Oh, yes, they are, man. They are up and coming, and they really got a lot of momentum going right now, man. They got a lot of they're on a roll. I think they might be the next band from our area to hit it big. I really do. They're selling out some places, and they moved up from the clubs to like some smaller theaters and stuff. I'll tell you what, man, that band's got a lot of momentum behind them right now.
Oh, I'll tell you, man, they are sensational, man. Jackie sings so good, man. Wow. She's amazing. I love her, man. She's just, and Rick and the rest of the guys, they pump it out. I'm telling you.
And you know what?
They pump it out.
And they're such great people too, man. They are just nice people. And I'll tell you, any success that they get, they deserve. You couldn't ask for a better bunch of people.
No, you couldn't, man. No, you couldn't. They're wonderful people.
But we always lament about those days when a musician could make a living playing 7 nights a week. And we would have all these clubs, even around in a city like Youngstown, where there would be clubs rocking 7 nights a week, and there'd be bands in each and every one of them. It was just a crazy time.
Yeah, I know. What happened, man? What happened, Freddie? I don't know.
Well, one of the big things I think that happened was the DUIs. Once they started cracking down on the DUIs, I think that really had a major impact on the bar scene. But it's like people they don't go out like they used to, man. I mean, for us back at that point in time, rock and roll was a religion almost, I mean, we lived to go see bands. We lived to go see concerts. And that was our big thing. We lived to listen to the radio and buy records. I mean, and it just was like through our whole culture, even as kids, you look at the TV shows like the Partridge Family and the Monkees and the Beatles cartoons and, everything, the Banana Splits, everything was just focused on rock music.
Yeah, it was. It really was, man. It's just different right now. But yeah, you're right. The DUI thing meant a lot. People don't want to go up and get pinched for, you lose your license, you pay fines. It's, I mean, it's not that it's a bad thing. I mean, it's a good thing that they did do that, I think, because of all the issues with drunk drivers, but it did have an impact, man. It really did.
Yeah, it certainly did. Now, what do you think is one of your biggest gigs or your most famous gigs or one of the gigs that you look back and say, damn?
Oh, man, I don't know, man. That's hard to say. I would say when Leah first came out and all of a sudden we were headlining, place like the Stanley Theater, that I would say would probably be the most one I remember most, because after that we went on tour with Loverboy, we went on tour with Hall & Oates, we did some gigs with Nugent, we did all this stuff. So it was a crazy time. But to remember a single place, I would say the Stanley Theater in Pittsburgh when we first hit.
That first big gig, and then it was like, man, we're on to something. I think this is going to work.
Yeah, I guess so.
That has got to be an awesome feeling. Well, you didn't you opened for Michael Stanley for those big shows at Blossom too when they set the attendance record, didn't you?
Oh, well, you know what? Yeah, we did. We played. It was 4 nights in a row. They sold out all 4 nights. I mean, nobody's ever done that. Nobody.
To this day.
So, yeah, we opened for them. That's right.
Gary Markowski told me after those 4 gigs, he bought a new car with the T-shirt sales. With his cut of the T-shirt sales, he bought a new car.
Well, good for him, man. Good for him.
You know, that was always a great double bill. You and Michael, you guys had a good friendship going over the years, huh?
Yeah, well, yeah, we did. Our manager, Mike Falcon, who passed away, also. And that's how we came to know each other. Mike Falcon was our manager, and we became great friends, and we played so many shows together, man. They were just great shows. Up until maybe really up until the time he passed away.
Right.
We were doing shows at the what is that place? The casino there.
Oh yeah, Northfield Park.
Yeah. We played there like every right around Christmas every year for like 3 or 4 years.
Oh yeah, great shows.
Yeah, it was a great run. It really was a great run.
Great times. Now let's go back and talk a little bit about just Pittsburgh bands in general. It seems like you guys are Yin's guys. It seems like Yin's guys have such solid bands. I mean, when you look at like you look at the Clarks, I mean, bands like Rusted Root, Joe Grishecki. Yeah. I mean, when you guys do a show, you always put on a good show. I have never seen Donnie Iris have an off night. I have never seen the Clarks have an off night. It's like you guys just bring it every time you play.
Yeah. And they're still doing it, man. The Clarks are still at it. I went to see Scott Blasey the other night at a small club. He was by himself, and he put on the show all by himself. I mean, he was great. That boy, he's an entertainer, man. I'll tell you, he's great. I love that guy.
So what is it about Donnie Iris that Pittsburgh? Why does Pittsburgh love Donnie Iris so? I think you could be elected mayor. You could be elected king of Pittsburgh. Why? What is it about Donnie Iris in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania? Why do they love you, man? What's
you know what? I think it's more of the fact that I'm out and about. I meet people, I talk to them, we take pictures, we do all kinds of stuff. I mean, I still do that stuff. I'm not a shut-in or anything like that. And I think that's really what they like about me. It's just like I'm just one of the people. You know what I mean? I'm a Yinzer just like they are.
Right. I buy that. I think you hit the nail right on the head with that one. So I know you're also a cigar nut. What's a good cigar you're smoking these days?
Well, right now I'm smoking a Monte Cristo. Although I like all kinds of different cigars, I'm smoking one as we speak.
Well, I figured that. Now, here's my question. You love them cigars, but you still have the best scream in rock, or one of the best screams in rock. How do you manage that, man? How does your voice stay so good?
I think the cigars coat the throat. You know what I mean? They leave a nice little coating on your throat to make it easy to sing. That's all I can think.
Oh, that's awesome. That's awesome. Now, one more question, and then we'll wrap it up. Now, I know that over our many conversations throughout the years, it has come up that you're a big fan of the movie Scarface. What is it that you love about Scarface?
What can I say, man? You know what I mean? Who put this thing together? Me. That's who. I love Scarface. I love that guy, man. And another one I like is Tombstone. Did you ever see Tombstone?
Oh, Tombstone is one of the greatest of all times, huh?
Of all time. Doc Holliday. And oh, man. That was the greatest movie. Out of all the movies I've ever seen, there's so many that I love, but that one is on the top of the heap, man. It's just great. I love that movie, man. Yeah, and I'm a movie buff, that's for sure.
Well, Johnny Ringo,
yeah, you look like someone just walked across your grave.
And those guys were just so cool with the with the mustaches and everything. Just the look, Sam Elliott. Those guys. Everything about that movie is perfect.
It's perfect. No nominations at all. You know that?
Unbelievable.
Never got a nomination for Academy Award.
You look
Not one.
you look on Facebook and you look on all these things where these little videos pop up, anything you see on there about Tombstone, everybody just loves it. It's just such a classic. And same with Scarface, man. You know, the scene when they chop up his brother with the chainsaw in that shower.
Oh my God, yeah. Oh my. It's just some of the things he says are so funny, like "fly, pelican, fly." I love it, Freddie. I love it.
That's some great stuff. So, Donnie, what can people expect when they come and see you this Saturday night at the Robbins Theater in downtown Warren?
They gotta expect a full rock and roll show, man. We're gonna bring it, man. We're gonna bring it.
And they're related to Eric.
Hey, we are back. All right. That's our conversation with Donnie Iris. Donnie is a great guy. He is still going strong. And Donnie still to this day has one of the best screams in rock and roll. And the guy smokes cigars like, some people smoke cigarettes. And he could just still come out there and just hit those notes, man. That's amazing. Incredible. He's a great guy, and you can catch Donnie this Saturday, Robbins Theater in downtown Warren. And let me tell you something. If you have not seen a show at the Robbins Theater yet, that place is fantastic. It's a great place for a show, and Kenny and them guys have done a great job restoring that, and it's just a great night out. And I know I saw Tracy down there not too long ago. And what show were we at?
Kenny Wayne Shepherd?
Yeah, Kenny Wayne Shepherd. Boy, that was a good show, huh?
Well, that was.
That was awesome. I'll tell you, that Devin Allman, Samantha Fish, that was another great one.
I want to live vicariously through you two.
And Ace Frehley.
He goes more.
Ace Frehley was really good. Oh, man. Say what you want about Kiss, but the Kiss Army is still faithful. And I'll tell you, you saw so many people with Spaceman shirts on and stuff, and everybody was into it. It was a great time. And it's just a good time. Now, if you're looking for something a little more bluesy, something a little more intimate, something on the west side of Youngstown, you're going to want to check out my man Haas here. Haas and the Juggernauts are going to be playing. And first of all, we have Tracy here. So Tracy could tell us a little bit about the dash in and everything. But first of all, you can put your Steelers hat back on. Tracy come in and she's wearing a Steelers hat. And I told Joe, I said, Joe, aren't you checking at the door? Don't we have a dress code here? And then she tells me, oh, you'll never guess who gave me this hat. And I'm like, who? And she goes, oh, your sister Lenny gave me this hat. And I'm like, oh, okay. So now you really got to rub it in.
Yeah, but she is also the mother of Tim, who is the greatest child in the world. So we must wish her a happy Mother's Day a little early.
Just for
bringing
birth to Tim
into the world. Yes, yes, we must. Just has to be done.
I don't even want to start getting into that, but I'm
she'll
sure
be calling.
Yeah, she'll be sending pictures of Tim into us or whatever, and I can just see that happening. Yeah, I have to hear from. I have to hear about that all the time.
1.
And how about that Pens game? Now you've worked many years at PPG Arena and also at Star Lake and
Hinesfield too.
Yeah. And I'd always see you down there at the Pens games, and boy, you had to be excited about that game.
Oh my God, night. Triple overtime? Yes, absolutely. It's just breathtaking to see them back again like that.
Now you must have had a lot of fun working there and also at Star Lake.
Well, it was really incredible working there during the 2 seasons back-to-back championships. That was the most amazing period of my life, I would have to say.
The energy alone.
Yeah. I mean, outside and inside. The real fans were outside.
Yeah.
The fashion show was inside.
Right.
But the outside and all those bars around the arena, they were hopping.
Tickets to games like that.
Yeah. The poor people are the real fans. They're outside.
Yeah, right.
But they're sneaking in
Listen
bits
to
of
the
everything
radios.
and
Right.
under their shirts and in their pants. And, we don't see a damn thing in security. We're just having a good time with them,
Yeah.
I mean, that's the way it used to be before the pandemic, of course.
Right.
But yeah, it was a good time. They used to bring out a big screen, like a big outdoor movie screen.
Oh, I love when they do that.
And every game, they would have that home game. So the place would be packed outside.
And then how about at Star Lake? What were some of your fun things there? That'd be crazy.
One of the best memories I ever had of working at Star Lake, I was working backstage, and it's a shack. It is really a shack. It's spiders and cobwebs and animal critters and all that. And there actually is a lake behind Star Lake in the backstage, behind the stage. And believe it or not, there's a golf tee. There's a place in the back where the artists come off their buses and the light of day hits them and they pull out their golf clubs and they buy buckets of balls off of some lady that
That's
runs
amazing.
the ball place in the back of Star Lake. And I kid you not, I was back there and everybody's always messing around. All these big stars and stuff, and you're not allowed to say anything or ask them for their autographs or anything, but you can watch. And kid you not, Rob Thomas, was that Matchbox 20?
Yeah.
Matchbox 20 was playing there. Rob Thomas, I guess he's a big golfer. And there was like 5 people around, myself included in that 5. He hit a hole-in-one.
What?
On the island in that lake. He hit it like.
So did you guys go? Yeah.
Oh yeah, the whole. I mean, there was only 5 of us, and we couldn't act all crazy and cheer and high five, but you just kind of drop your jaw and go, "Oh my god!" I just saw Rob Thomas hit a hole-in-one after people would buy like hundreds and thousands of balls and shoot it at this island in the middle of this little lake and never even get on the island, And he sank it. I saw it with my own eyes, and everybody else there would see it too. So that was the most interesting thing I ever saw there. Really,
it just shows you too how things have changed over the years. That these rock stars get off the bus and want to go golfing before it would be like groupies and any kind of drugs they could get their hands on and mass quantities of alcohol and come staggering off. Half of them wouldn't even be up at that early to go out in the daylight to see this.
You'd see them come off their buses and the light hitting them in the eyes. Another one was Kelly Clarkson. Kelly Clarkson had like the Taj Mahal on wheels, and she brought her dogs with her. And she had a little kiddie pool, one of those plastic kiddie pools. You would know about that, right, Hoss?
All about it.
Yeah, and
don't fit in them. I know about.
She brought a kiddie pool for her dogs. She had like these little Yorkies or kind of little miniature breed like that, and she brought a kiddie pool out for her dogs. Had their awning out on her trailer,
a gaggle of
her
Yorkies.
Bus, and it was like camp out over at Pymatooning or something.
Oh, that's pretty wild.
She owns a giant ranch down in Texas now.
That's pretty wild.
Yeah,
it's still Star Lake to me. It has always been Star Lake to me.
I was supposed to see Foo Fighters there, as a matter of fact.
What's it called now? It's changed names like.
Yeah, now it's something at Star Lake. It's Pavilion. Like the pavilion at Star Lake, which they should have always kept it there.
It wasn't just the Star Lake Pavilion before. It was Star Lake Amphitheater is what it was called originally.
PNC Pavilion.
And then it was the First Niagara Pavilion. Then it was the Post Gazette Pavilion.
Post Gazette. I saw
Coca-Cola. Yeah.
I shouldn't say I saw, but I went to Ozfest when it was Post Gazette. I didn't make it in the door.
Oh no! What happened?
We partied. We had some serious cello shots on that bus. Yeah, made our legs all jello-y too, man. Didn't make it. We posted up on the lawn chairs in the front of the bus and just listened to the music from there. It was like the party all day.
Oh yeah, I'll tell you that. Ozfest was always great. Lollapalooza was always great. 92, 93, I think were the really good years for Lollapalooza.
Buffett.
Yeah.
Buffett
Jimmy Buffett. I've been to every single one.
Yeah.
And it is still such a party. It is still such a party. And speaking of parties, we got to talk about what we got going on this weekend. We got Haas here, and I haven't even talked to Haas, but
I know I want to talk to Haas too. It's like, oh my God, Haas is.
I'm enjoying the
conversation. First of all, tell us what we got going on.
Okay, we are going to have the last of the series of Dash and Blues Days in May. We had one every month, and we had some bands. Bobby Thompson and the Groove were there last month. Charlie Brath
Oh.
It was amazing.
Who's coming back, by the way? He's going to be doing some harp lessons. So if you're a harmonica player, and he's going to be on, and he's fantastic, and he's going to start giving some lessons, and he's going to,
that's great.
You know, give you some, you know, you can call in, and you know, he'll give some tips and tricks, and
nice.
So that's going to be a lot of fun.
Anyhow,
I'm looking forward to that.
This Saturday at 7:00, we are having Haas and the Juggernauts on the west side of Youngstown.
Yeah, man.
And we're really excited about it because it's our hometown guys. You know, and Haas doesn't play out a lot.
I don't.
And so it's a special
coming off of COVID.
Yeah,
So
man, I was telling Freddie earlier, man, we had bad timing. We all took a break. We took a break 3 months before my daughter was born, and my guitar player's daughter had just been born. And it's his second kid. And that was, and when Josie turned 3 months old, my wife went back to maternity leave on March 11th, and the March 12th, they shut us all down. So I was like, oh, wow. Up until last summer, I did 2 shows, one at Shaker's and one at the Backyard. That was it. And those were just kind of like getting your feet wet. We were basically getting ourselves ready for a couple weddings we had. Right. You know, we haven't seen each other in 2 years. Didn't see each other for 2 years. So that was like crazy.
It was a tough time for everybody. And like we had said earlier, hopefully we're getting back into this groove. And I think everybody is just ready to bust out. Everybody's ready to get out, see some live music, see some bands, interact with people, have a couple of drinks. And that's what it's all about. Yeah. So, Haas, tell us a little bit about yourself. You know, we've known each other for years. It's the first time we really had a chance to sit down, but we have done gigs all over the place. So, you know, where are you from? How, you know, tell us a little bit about your background.
Well, I grew up outside of Youngstown in Mineral Ridge. My mom and dad met in choir class. They both could sing. My mom used to clean house for an opera singer, and she was there cleaning house and let me kind of dig around. And I snuck downstairs where this lady taught her lessons, and she heard me doing what she was teaching when she came out of a lesson, and she carried me up to my mom and said, I'll teach your boy for free. So like I was classically trained from the time I was 4 or 5 until I was like 12 when she kicked me out. I wanted to play football, and she wanted me to play piano.
Yeah. You know, now you're classically trained. I know Paul Scourin from Noisy Mama is classically trained. Leanne Binder. You know, so a lot of you guys that have these really good voices this isn't just something that you just picked up and says, hey, I could sing. So
it helps to have some talent, but you know, there was a lot of work involved, and especially at a young age, a lot of really boring exercises.
Give me an example, because your voice is so good. This guy's got such a voice.
Oh, I know.
Give us a little.
Love at first sight.
I still do the same warm-ups now before a show that I did when I was, you know, 5, 6, 7, 8 years old. I just like go through the do, re, mi, fa, sol, la, ti, dos, but I just use the L in front of all the different vowels. So I go la 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 lo 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 lu 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 li 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 li. I just work my way up the scale, and you just push yourself until you crack, and then you pull back and go back down, and then you wait like 10 minutes, do it again. And this is a gradual warm up, because you don't want to blow yourself out before. I had a friend that used to warm up for like 2 hours before a show. Then he get to the show and he had these incredibly hard notes and nothing. Yeah. I'm like, bro, you blew your gasket before you even stepped on stage.
Right.
So the older you get, the more careful you got to be too. So
that's the thing. Some people, they just blow their voices out. But I noticed the people that are classically trained and they're really serious. I think Rama might have been classically trained as a singer as well, if I'm not mistaken. Violin. That's right.
He is a violinist.
Yeah. And then,
I love those two.
The interesting thing about Rama is that I didn't know, that I discovered about him. He was a champion bluegrass fiddler. And when he was a kid, and his dad would take him all over the East Coast and everywhere, and he would
never told me that.
He would saw in all these big bluegrass things.
Oh, I'm gonna make him play some fiddle for me. I'm gonna make him play some fiddle.
He's the one who introduced me to Haas. There was this blues festival down at B&O Station back in 2019 before the pandemic.
Yeah.
And I came up from Pittsburgh for the weekend.
He had me come over and sing with Triple Threat. They were playing across. It was
down by the river.
Triple Threat, and then me. Yeah.
But I never saw you. I never knew anything about you until Rama and Kim asked me to go to that B&O Station. And it was like, I was sitting with his mother, as a matter of fact, Jane. And she's like, watch
That's
this.
right. His mom was at that show.
Like, hold my beer, watch this. And I'm like, where have you been hiding this guy? This is a very recognizable voice. It's like tender, tenderness.
Yeah. Haas belts these songs out, man. He's got so much soul. Okay, so now you got to make this decision. You want to play piano, you play football, so you decide to be a Mineral Ridge Ram.
Yeah, man, we're actually good too. My junior year, we went to playoffs for the first time in school history. But I mean, football didn't really take me anywhere. It kept me in athletics. Kept me athletic. The whole time I was in football, I ended up going back to piano lessons when I was like 14, 15, 16. And learning more piano. I always kept with the classical training. I never stopped that. Like I said, I still do the same warm-ups.
Yeah.
And in my high school, we had this really cool thing called Escapades. It's one of my teachers, Pam Placia, would put on to raise money for the scholarship fund because they basically did everything they could for the kids. It was a good school system. And it was a talent show. So she would exploit me every way she possibly could. I'd start with 2 songs, and by the time it was showtime, I'd have 5. I need a filler. Do this song. I need somebody else. You gotta do this. You gotta sing this with these people. Okay, whatever you say. I ended up sticking with music. But that was the classical side. But I learned how to sing like soul. A couple buddies of mine used to take me to a gospel church with them. For 4 years of high school, I went to Monument of Faith in Warren. Randomly, not on a regular basis, but like, once a month, here or there. And I really learned so much about music there that I would have never learned anywhere else. It took my idea of what singing a note was and just blew my mind. And then there was no stopping me from being able to do that after that. I was like, I want to sing like my friends sing.
There are so many gospel, so many R&B singers that's where they really cut their teeth is in church and in the Baptist church choirs. And,
yeah, man.
I think you can go to the list from, Little Richard to
the Winans were already big, but like God's Property, Kirk Franklin and God's Property with that first album they did blew my mind. There was a song called Up Above My Head, I Hear Music in the Air. That song, I still can hear that bass line just gets me. I can't stop it. But yeah, that was one of the first songs. I'll tell you what happened. We were at a congregation. We go to church. You go to church all day. It's a whole day. Everybody goes to lunch together. They come back. Came back from lunch, and they separated. So like the men on one side, the women on the other. And I saw my buddy's mom passing a note up to the deacon, and he opened it up and said, "We have a request for our brother Joe to come sing with us right now." My real name is Joe.
Yeah.
And I'm like, oh man. And I said, the only way I'm singing is if my friends come sing with me. They had a killer youth choir, so they brought the whole youth choir up, and we sang that song. I'd never performed it before in my life. I only knew the 2 verses, but you would have thought it was rehearsed. People were dancing in the aisles, hats flying up in the air. It was incredible. Changed my life. That day changed my life for music. I mean, it just made me know that I wanted to do something with music at some point. You know what I mean? And then I took a left turn after high school, but I came back.
Well, that's awesome. That's a crazy story there.
Yeah, it was incredible. I'd never been part of something like that up to that point in my life, where people literally was doing cartwheels, backflips, like down the aisle,
like on the Blues Brothers.
I swear to God, it was like blew my mind. And Cedric was like, "That's Sunday." My buddy was just, "This is just Sunday, man. This is what we do." I was like, "That's incredible." It was just incredible. The spirit, the love, the camaraderie, the family feeling that it was. You can't change. I mean, you can't touch it. It was amazing. That changed my life for better and for music.
That is amazing. Because that was going to be my next question. When did you really get that feeling that like, hey, this is something I could do? Or you got that taste of blood, as they say?
That was it. The blood was in my mouth at that point. I tasted it, man. And yeah, but there was a part of me that really wanted to be an athlete. So after I graduated high school, I went and became a pro wrestler. And I traveled around the country for 5 years.
Really?
With the minor league WWE. Yeah.
Tell me more about this, man.
Not everybody knows about us, but you can actually. I'll after we're done, I'll show you. There's a match of mine on YouTube. My one buddy only posted 2 of them. I'm surprised anybody had any footage. They were all VHS.
Yeah.
Back in the day, But yeah, I went to HWA, Heartland Wrestling Association in Cincinnati, and was there for 4 years. And we ended up being a farm league for WWE when McMahon bought both ECW and WCW.
Yeah,
the employees that he kept, he split between 3 schools: Connecticut, Louisville, and Cincinnati. And we, from there on out, every Sunday for 2 years, we drove to Louisville, did TV tapings. I worked with John Cena, Dave Bautista, Brock Lesnar, Hugh Morris, Jamie Lynn, Eddie Guerrero. I mean, the list goes on, man. I got to hang out with some of the coolest cats ever. And I mean, I was young. I was like 19, 20. So I basically drove these guys around from interview to the gym to their hotel I was the lackey, for lack of a better term, you know. And it was really cool to get to learn. I got to learn how to throw an arm drag from Ricky the Dragon Steamboat himself. I mean, that was incredible. And at 300 pounds, he said, for being 300 pounds, boy, you dip your elbow as deep as I do. And that was like, that blew my mind. That's Ricky the Dragon Steamboat, man.
We like wrestling.
Yeah, you see what I mean? Like, man, I loved it when I was a kid, you know?
Yeah.
But that, I ended up getting hurt about 5 years in. I got slammed during a match outside the ring, and my tailbone hit, and I lost feeling in my legs for like 25 minutes.
Oh,
scariest moment in my life.
Yeah.
I literally crawled to the locker room, and everybody thought it was the greatest sell in history, and I'm like freaking out because I'm thinking I'm never going to walk again.
Yeah.
Well, I started feeling my toes and everything, but it made me start thinking, man, you got to get out of here. You look. I started looking around. Everything started looking different. I started looking at my buddies that were, you know, in their 30s and 40s at that point. I'm 22 at that point. And they're getting cortisone shots in their knees, and they're, you know, addicted to painkillers, and they're, you know, if you're not in the top 1% of that career, you're struggling. You're going to state fairs and high school gyms, and you know what I mean, like anywhere that'll pay you to wrestle.
Yeah.
And it's a really lopsided industry. And I called my best friend and I said, hey man, if I come home, you want to start a band? He was like, shh, let's go.
Yeah.
I came home, started a rock band called Audion. It was like metal, like kind of Seven Dust-ish. And with that, we lasted a couple years. And when we split, I met Bobby Wolf, who had just left Relic. And we were, well, not sugarcoated, we were drunk at Salty Grogs, and we ran into the same door. Boom. He was trying to go out, I was trying to go in. Boom, we laughed, and we were like, let me buy a drink. All right, man, let's buy a drink. And we started shooting the shit, and we, he's a guitar player, I'm a singer. Oh, well, you should come over, man, we'll play. Within 3 weeks, we had like 10 songs, like covers, you know?
Yeah.
And we started playing U-Pie.
Yeah.
And we met Jared Mott, who played sax, and he joined us. So now we were a 3-piece playing U-Pie open mics and hitting, you know, Barley's and these other bars. And then we met Dean Anschultz, who now is the drummer for Red, White, and Blue. That was our first drummer.
Boy, what a great band those guys are.
Oh, yeah. Scott and the boys, they do a great job. And Dean is an incredible musician.
Yeah.
Their drummer now. He's just an incredible human being, too. And Eric Jernigan, who was a bass and tuba major at OSU, and he was a military band. He runs a military band for the whole East Coast.
Wow.
Yeah, and I saw him do a tuba solo in the art gallery. Yeah, and he blew my mind. I never heard a tuba move so fast in my life. You know, it's like, is that a tuba? Like,
boom, boom.
That's what you think, but he's like, you know, I'm like, how do you do that with a tuba? The kid was incredible, but it was a nice crew, and we that was Acoustic Juggernaut, and it eventually, as people moved on, I was the only original member left, and the guy said, we want your name at the front. And I said, you guys are nuts. I don't want my name at the front. Said, it's Hoss and the Juggernauts. Yeah. You don't have a say. You're outvoted. I was like, whatever. So there we are.
Yeah, those were some fun places, man. Salty Grogs and Barley's.
Barley's, you're playing into the wall.
yeah.
Salty's, man. We used to put 450 people in Salty's. They'd be spilled out onto the patio.
Was that behind Kmart?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. I remember that.
Bar was nuts.
Oh, I used to have so much fun there. We used to
have a lot of fun. Yeah, I used to be on the patio all the time, man.
Yeah, we used to hang out there and host some shows and stuff.
Was that open when your radio station
Actually, Freddie,
was
the
over?
first time I ever met you, like shook your hand, was at Salty Grogs. It was an afternoon. It was like a Sunday afternoon or something, and you were doing a remote. And
right for a football game.
Yeah, and I was there, and I walked. I was like, "Man, that's Freddie, my man."
And of course, we got our buddy JT.
Yeah, that's that's our mutual connection. Really, Oh man, I love Tabola.
Yeah, Jason Tabola, big fan, always been a big supporter of yours, and that's how I think we came to follow the band a little more too, because he'd always talk you guys up, and hey, you got to see these guys. And then of course he was a sales guy for the radio station, so usually when you guys were playing somewhere, he'd get the club to advertise and stuff. So we had that mutual connection there.
Yeah, everybody
just to go back here for a second, what was your wrestling name?
Haas.
Oh, you were Haas.
So funny story. I walk into the office day one, right? I went down and did a visit and met the guy. The guy who ran the place. His name was Les Thatcher. He wrestled. He wrestled in the 50s, 60s, and 70s, and he wrestled the circuit with like the original Four Horsemen and all the Georgia South guys. He wrestled the Southern circuits.
Yeah.
Danny Nightmare Davis and Jim Cornette and all those guys. And he goes, "What's your name, kid?" I go, my name's Joe. And he goes, "Nope, that doesn't work." Okay. He goes, "We got 6 Joes. What's your name, kid?" I was like, "Well, my family calls me Haas." That's it. Haas. Works. Perfect. 65-year-old pissed off Irish guy with a rough voice and smokes cigars he would light a cigar and smoke it till it was dead and then just pull another one out and just never didn't have a cigar in his mouth. And he cursed like it was an art form.
These are some real characters, man. I'm just picturing this whole scenario.
It's incredible.
Some wrestling history and just picturing how some of this stuff was.
So on the wall of the wrestling school, because he described the wrestling circuits the same as the music circuits. So they traveled the same cities and at the same times as the the original Outlaws, David Allan Coe and Hank Williams Jr. and
Willie and
Waylon and Chris Christopherson and all these guys. And he actually was friends with Chris Christopherson. And but he's like, we would party at the same houses. We'd have gigs the same nights. We drove the same highways. We played pranks on each other. And it's wild to think all the characters they used to play the worst pranks on each other. Suits back then were all tailor made. You couldn't go to a store and just buy a suit that was hanging on the thing. They didn't have. You had to get fitted. Yeah. So these guys, while the guy was in the ring, they would go and they would all them stitches. And this big buff guy would come out, put his suit on after the match, right, all the sleeves, the legs, the seam of the crotch, everything just split like the Great Tide. Oh man, they used to take each other's tires off and put the car on blocks and drive their tires to the next show in the next city. So they'd have to buy all brand new tires, all brand new wheels, put them on their car, drive the city.
These are
big time pranks on each other. I'm so glad I was never at their level.
Oh wow, that's big stuff there, man.
Big stuff, man.
That's really putting some thought into it too.
Oh man, imagine. I mean, how do you even come up with that kind of stuff?
I know. That's crazy. Big time pranksters there, man.
Oh yeah. Oh, these guys were nuts.
That's wild.
They were nuts, but there were lots of characters. I mean, not just in the ring. These guys are characters for real. They're the big personalities, big hearts.
Yeah.
Everybody's behind the scenes. Everybody pretty much gets along for the most part. You always have.
Boy, that's pretty wild, man. That had to be an interesting 4 or 5 years there, man. Wow.
It was crazy. It was crazy. Saw a lot of crazy stuff. A lot of crazy stuff. Man, I'm trying to think of a good one. Oh, the Big Show. Paul White.
Yeah.
He's a monster, right?
Yeah.
We're wrestling at Jillian's in Cincinnati, which is actually in Kentucky. It's in Covington, right across the river. And we've got Molly Holly, Rhino, and the Big Show. There's no real locker room. They've just got curtained off partitioned areas. It's because you wrestle in this place called the Warehouse down there. It's just a big, giant room in the one back area. They just kind of separated it, give everybody as much privacy as possible. But the Warehouse kind of hunkers in the middle of the whole club. So there's stuff on one side, stuff on the other. So a lot of times the servers would cut through with trays of food and stuff, to go to banquets or whatever. And this poor girl came rolling through with a tray of food while Paul White was naked. And you could hear him yell at her from every corner of Jillian's. He's like, "Get out of my dressing room!" Like, oh man, woo! We were, you were talking about somebody who could fit 5 hot dogs in one hand while playing poker. what is the riverboat casinos down in Indiana and Ohio right there. We used to wrestle on those. Those are big.
Oh, that'd be crazy. I'll tell you what, and just knowing like the area of Kentucky and stuff, boy, you had to hit some halls and some volunteer fire stations and stuff that were just like unbelievable. I can only imagine what some of them fans looked like.
You know what? You don't even have to imagine, man. Whatever you're thinking is exactly what they look like. Oh yeah, man. And you know, they love it. They love everything about it.
World-class hecklers, I would imagine.
Oh yeah, and they're good at it too. They get you know, when you wrestle with a smaller troop like that, they get personal.
Yeah,
they get to know you better. They see you a lot. You know what I mean? So they're like, you'll be walking down like, hey, how's your girlfriend? Well, you know, they'll just talk to you like it's Sunday afternoon. You're having tea.
Yeah,
like you're like walking to the ring with your entrance music and like, how's your mom and dad doing? Good? Everything good? Like what?
And then once you start that,
I can't really like. The best is the guys that, you know, supposed to be the bad guys, and they're trying to talk crap afterwards. Like, hey man, you know, I just doing my thing. You know?
Yeah. Hey, you guys are the biggest bunch of hillbillies I've ever seen. I can't wait to get out of this town. Half of you people here probably can't count to 10, and
it sounds like Freddie's got a promo or one or two in his life.
Yeah, you know. Or I could, one or the other.
Man.
No, I'll tell you, I had been a wrestling fan all my life, man. I go back to the days when we had a small black and white TV, and it had rabbit ear antennas or maybe a bullseye,
some foil on it.
Yeah, and you're trying to get in. The ones were on like Channel 9 out of Steubenville and Channel 61 out of Cleveland were the two main ones. And this goes back to the days of like Bobo Brazil and Pompero Purpo, the Argentinian wild man. And they would always show matches from Cobo Arena in Detroit.
Nice.
And like back then, that was like the big thing. And you would see Bobo Brazil against like, you know, Bruno San Martino and all those greats.
Yeah.
And the picture was so fuzzy and, you know, the cameras were so far away and everything, but it was still
great.
You know, you would sit there and then I would use all those moves on my brother.
Lay on little couch cushions.
Yeah.
Drop the big elbow. Oh, same thing, man.
You know, those days of wrestling were just amazing. And that was one thing I always wanted to do, never had a chance. But when I was little, man, I just wanted to get the Cobo Arena in Detroit to see Bobo Brazil. You know? Like, I got to go there. I got to see this, you know. But I never had a chance.
Cool.
But, you know, I remember they used to have like, you know, Bruno would wrestle at Girard High School gym a lot. And they had him and Dynamite Dominic DeNucci was another guy that would wrestle down there a lot. And then Stamp Auditorium, Struthers Field House. And you know, I mean, I've been my son Matt, he is a huge wrestling fan. He's like an encyclopedia. He could do a podcast. He knows every single thing about wrestling that
I've got these tapes that Jim Cornette made personally. They're 5 VHS tapes, and they're called Jim Cornette's. Like I forget what the title is, but they're all the matches. He dubbed them all together for any guy that got a contract, and he give them all these tapes, and with them came a pamphlet of handwritten notes for each match of what to pay attention to, ring psychology, execution of moves. They broke it down. He broke it down so eloquently and beautiful.
Wow.
And I still have them. And my brother-in-law is a huge wrestling fan. He's got like, he's got a little man cave. You walk in and you're like, whoa.
Yeah.
All the original figures, still some out of the box, and then another one in the box. So one I can mess with, one I don't.
Yeah.
Like he's that guy. You know what I mean? Like, and it's awesome. You know.
Yeah.
He's got all this stuff. I was telling about these tapes. He's like drooling at the map. Like I want to see these. I'm talking killer matches like Tully Blanchard versus Magnum TA and the steel cage. Like, oh man, iconic. Ric Flair versus Dusty Rhodes with the Roll of Nickels match.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, remember the Roll of Nickels match where they knocked him out of the Roll of Nickels? Oh my God, the American Dream. It's such good stuff. The Midnight Express versus the Orient Express.
Oh yeah.
Oh, killer matches. But each one of them, you got this big thick thing full of handwritten notes from Jim Cornette laying out what is important to pay attention to in these matches.
Wow.
And it's stuff all the way from back in the 50s and 60s, all the way up into the 80s and 90s when you had like I'd say one of the most recent matches on the tape would have been the Bret Hart versus Stone Cold hour-long match. I mean, that was an incredible match itself. Yeah, and
so he breaks it down. So, but I mean, this is Jim Cornette's the real deal. Like when it comes to
he is a goofball in the camera, but he's a real deal behind stage. And he's madly respected widely across the entire.
So thing. He really breaks it down, and here's what they were trying to do, or maybe you could have did this here. Or,
not a wrestler himself, really, but a psychologist, so to speak, as far as how things work in the ring and what people pay attention to, what not to do to ruin the illusion of pain. You know what I mean? You go into a match knowing that there's going to be so much pain. Like you've already accepted that amount. You know, like, you try really not to kill each other. You know you're going to hurt each other anyway. You know, you're not. You know, but every now and again you run into somebody who wants to hurt you. You know, so you know they lay out. There's matches in there that he laid out. Look, this dude's shooting right now. He's trying to hurt him. You can see it right now. And look how he reacts. You know, and so you get to see how somebody defends themselves, how they. You know, how to know. A lot of times you work with guys that don't speak English too.
Oh, yeah.
So it's all body language. And that's crazy. I had wrestled with Kaz Hayashi and from Japan. And his English is like, at the time, I mean, it's been, we're 15 years ago now. Yeah. At the time, he was like, he had maybe like 100 words. And, I mean, that's, think 100 words is not, no, it's not a lot. It's not a lot, it's really not. And you're shooting them off and you work the same side of the body so that, you never have to question it, but you catch a lot of elbows and forearms and knees and ankles, to the face and the arms, and you just it's inevitable. There's going to be some. Yeah,
I think a lot of people don't realize that about wrestling. There's a lot to it.
Oh yeah, man,
say
it's
what
crazy.
You want, but
the history of it. I mean, it's an old carny. I mean, it's carnival workers. Like Andre the Giant's one of the coolest. I mean, like before he came over, he was able to do a standing backflip at his size. When he was in his 20s, he was actually in his 40s, like body age-wise. Yeah. But when he was in his 20s, he could do a standing backflip. Can you imagine? Oh, I would pay to see that.
I would too. Like, he could have just been an acrobat. Yeah. Wow. The stories about Andre the Giant, too, are just legendary. Like how much beer that guy would,
would look like a can of beer in his hand.
A bottle of Jack in his hand would look like that. And this guy would drink like 40 cans of beer. Like,
oh, my God, yeah.
Just to drink, like, we're drinking a 6-pack. And, this guy put down 40 beers.
Yeah, he's got the Milwaukee 32-pack.
Yeah.
The camo cans.
Oh, that's some crazy stuff. Hey, let's get back to music.
True story.
We might just have to have a wrestling show here at some point.
I'll come talk to you about it.
That's the beauty of this podcast, because I learned so much about all these guys, and everybody has an interesting story and something off the hook. And so let's get back to music now. You're playing the open mic nights and UPI and these different places, and then where did it go from there?
We started playing around. We got to open for some pretty cool people. I met Dennis Drummond, and we all got along. I met Dennis at Barley's. He was 13. We were playing the open mic. He was playing the open mic, and he came up. We played first. He came up to me and goes, "Man, you sound really good." I was like, "Thanks, man. Thank you very much." And I'd never seen him play. And then he went up and did his thing, and there was a football game on. It was a Sunday afternoon. Or whatever. It was I forget what it was, but it was a Sunday, and there was football on, and he was jamming. It was a Sunday night football on, and he was not paying attention to what he was playing whatsoever. But everybody in the crowd was like just melted, and he was watching the game, and I could tell he was watching it. So I walked and said, "Hey man, what was the score of that game?" He goes, "Ooh, you caught me." And I was just like, "Kid, how do you do that? Like, how do you play like that?" And, I used to nothing to get any better. Yeah. So I started playing with his band and my band, and there was a period of like 2-3 years there where I was between the two bands. I was doing 4 or 5 shows a week, every week for 3-4 months in the summer, and then everything slows down in the winter for everybody. You lose half your venues, and but yeah, we kept trucking along. The Juggernauts, Dennis comes and sits in with us when he's in town. And vice versa, I go sit in with him. If he needs any members and need a fill in, he calls me, and any of the guys will help him out at any time. My guys are super professional. Jordan, Mike, Roger, and then Tim Parker, my sax player, and Fredo Brazier, my other sax player. When they flip flop in and out, they're just they're all teachers, so they're professional to begin with. Right, and they carry themselves so well, but they're they're seriously underrated as far as how good musicians they are, and they can sit in with anybody in this town and help. You know what I mean? Like they're just that good.
I would definitely like to see you and Dennis drumming together. I think that would be awesome,
we did a show before COVID at Los Gallos in Boardman. It was Dennis, me, and Leanne. Well, Leanne and Rama were there. They came to watch.
Yeah.
And we brought them all. We had all of us on stage. My band, Dennis's Dennis. We had Nick Sonata was there. We had I forget who's playing sax. I can't remember who's playing sax. But we had trumpet. Kyle was playing trumpet. Kyle Dunn was playing trumpet. It was crazy, and it was one of the we played with a little help from my friends. And with Leanne and Rama on guitar and Dennis on guitar at the same time. And it was magical, man. It was magical. Man. People still come up to me that were at that show. I'm like, I have not seen a better show since. I'm like, man, I appreciate that. But it was incredible. It was so much fun.
It'd be nice if they showed up Saturday night and did like a remake of the Dash. Wouldn't that be something?
That would be cool.
I think Leanne's
they're doing a show in the summertime in August. And Dennis committed as long as he's not touring. And Mama asked me, I was like, I got a wedding that day, I gotta play. I was like, why?
Yeah.
1 month earlier, I wouldn't have signed a contract.
Yeah. Like, that would have been awesome. Yeah. I'm sure you guys will get back together at some point.
Yeah, I've gone down and sang with Dennis in Nashville. And I plan on doing that, to go and visit him again, man. He's a class act. I love that kid.
Oh yeah. That is that will be a lot of fun. And it just goes to show you the excellent musicians that we have in this area and have always had. And, I mean, from you want to go back to the 60s all the way to today, we have just had a string of just talented people.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's a lot of really good bands that come from this area that, musicians and like solo and like full band. Look at the Vindies, man. They're packed full of good musicians. Jackie's the bomb. She's amazing. But then so is John Anthony. He's had him. He played with us for a couple years too. He helped us out when we needed a hand. And Clay Cawley, the guy, the keyboard. I mean, he's just incredible. And Eddie Davis, who was the original drummer for Red, White, and Blue, is the Vindies drummer. And it's like cool, It's just like flip-flop back and forth. That's what I love about this town. Everybody seems to get along pretty well.
It's like a family here.
I agree, man.
I think.
Yeah, and you know what? And that's the way it should be. Everybody's out there trying to do the same thing. You know what I mean? As far not doing the same thing musically,
but trying to make it.
Trying to make it and trying to come out and
put
have
food
a good
on the
time.
table. Exactly.
Right. And you know what? And if you have the love and respect of each other, that makes it a lot better. I mean. And there are some people that have like egos or like, that band sucks or screw them guys or whatever. But that's definitely not the way to be. You know?
I agree. When I first moved back and started that rock band, the scene was so angry. Everybody was so angry at each other. And we're going back 15, 16 years now. I mean, there were some really good bands, Asleep, good friends of mine. I loved those guys. I'm trying to think some of the other bands that were around at the time. My mind, it eludes me at the moment, but nobody liked each other. And Asleep actually were the first ones who came to me and said, hey, let's do a cross-genre show. Let's change it up. We're tired of playing with bands that, are always trying to outdo us. Let's do something where neither one of us are trying to compete.
Yeah.
And our fans will get to see two different things. Yeah. We had killer shows at the Cellar, at Salty's, downtown. We had great shows together. And we still stay friends to this day. And, I feel like us, Jones for Revival, Asleep, The Zoo. Yeah. I feel like all these bands and a bunch of other bands that I don't mean not to mention, but, I'm old now. And but they all slowly started to work together more. And we had the Cedars in an original location. Yeah. You had Barley's. You had Salty Grogs. You had O'Donnell's. We had good spots to go play, and people came out. That was a good nice run with a lot of cool bands there, like with the Zoo, and Jones for Revival, and Vex Fest, and all that kind of stuff. I can't wait to bring that back. Yeah, those were some good days, man. We want to bring Vex back hard. We really do. And we were teasing it when right before COVID. We were teasing it that year. We were thinking 2019 we can do it again. And then COVID hit, we're just like squash.
Yeah, now for people that aren't familiar with Vex Fest, why don't you give us a little history? And the
Vex
bands
Fest
that
is
played.
the largest free show in the city of Youngstown. When we put it on, I'm actually part of the committee.
Right.
Yeah, and the goal is to get it completely paid for. And so the doors are wide open. We'll make our money on beer, and that money goes towards paying for everything that's out there, the people that are working, the electric, the sound, lights, security, bathrooms.
Yeah.
The fencing alone is incredible. That what you pay for that stuff, and and the permits and the legal fees, and that you got to have a lawyer on board that can do all that paperwork for you. And God bless Freddie for being the man. It's these guys, Dan Crump, Freddie Rafiti, John Jones. Those are the godfathers of X Fest. Those three guys started it. And it just slowly built. And I came on board at 4 or 5, Texas 4 or 5. And that's when I just started playing the show. I didn't even get involved in the actual making of it until 8, 9, 10. And it grew and grew and grew. At one point, it was so big, though, it was almost unmanageable. We had 5 stages, like 65 bands. But we shrunk it for 10. And people that don't know, when you hear the word Vex Fest, a lot of people will come from 100 miles away because they're going to see a lot of music. And we try to do all local bands, and then from just outside the area. So we bring some Cleveland bands down, and we've had some killer acts that have come through. Like Tropodelic are nationally touring now, and we had Zach Deputy started. He used to play at Aces. In the strip mall.
Yeah, you know what? I think that's one of the last times I saw you at Ace's Wild Wings.
Yeah, right on, man. Yeah.
But
Zach Deputy used to go and play there, and then he blew up, and he's all over the place. And he's a one-man band, but he's incredible. And he headlined 10 for us. What's the one band? I can't think of the headline. They blew the power out. I can't think of them right now. I'm having a moment, but they blew the power twice downtown. They had so much. They're a 2-man band. But there's so much equipment, some lights and cool stuff. Just boom. But there's been some killer acts to go through there. And
didn't Hailstorm play there one time?
I did. If they did, it was before I got because it started off as a really hard festival. It was a hard rock festival. And it slowly started to transition into just a music festival where we had cross genre, multi genre. And everything from hip hop to heavy metal, which are the two things. Funny enough, that will keep you from getting an insurance policy for a big festival. That's everything in between. It's a really cool thing that happens when we're able to do it. It's been spaced out now. It's probably been 4 years now since the last.
So
one.
we're about due for one, man.
We are totally due for.
And we have good space for it now with the Cavelli and the Wien Park open up. We're bringing Luke Bryan down here for crying out loud. We got all kinds of space.
I'll tell you what. When you look at that whole area, I just picture all kinds of crazy stuff that could go on down there, entertainment-wise.
When they said Luke Bryan was coming, all I could think of was Kenny Chesney people coming down to Youngstown and doing what they do in Pittsburgh. I just want to watch it or drone it or something.
Kenny Chesney concert that was at YSU? Was that? Who's that?
Zach Brown.
That was Zach Brown. That's Zach Brown.
Oh, Kenny Chesney, you'll know because it'll take days to get away and get out of it. And recover.
I get
insanity.
it.
But I'll tell you what, that whole area down there along the river, they can do all kinds of different things. I mean, even if you wanted to do like a 2-3 day thing with camping and stuff, you got the stages and the area.
We should do a Mid by Midwest.
Yeah. You know what? Downtown Youngstown could probably pull something like that off.
We could pull it off.
I think that the potential for that is really endless.
Put a stage on opposite ends of the city. Use the amp.
Yeah.
Use up by YSU.
Yeah.
And use 2 on down in the actual downtown area. You got 4 stages.
Yeah.
Put them at each point.
Yep.
Oh, that'd be wicked.
Oh,
vendors all over the place.
Awesome.
All the restaurants open.
Yep.
I think that if we get some, and I'll tell you, Eric Ryan has done a fantastic job. I mean, from being a steel worker that got a loan to open the cellar to what he is evolved into, man. I mean, it is that is a fantastic success story.
Yeah, it is.
And and he learned along the way. And when you think about all the bands that played at the Cellar, I mean, even these guys like Tommy Castro and the Blues Guys and Joe Bonamassa.
Yep.
Oh,
I mean, there was a point when Joe Bonamassa and Cornell Bogdan were going to different schools and talking about the blues, and Joe would bring his guitar.
I love
and stuff.
Cornell.
Oh, he's a great guy.
He is.
His daughter's a friend of mine, and they're good people.
I got to get Cornell on here because me and Cornell have so many stories.
You guys got history.
We could go on for days. We would be sitting on.
I'd be a fly on the wall over that. Just let me be a fly on the wall for that one.
We've had so many good times and so much fun, man, over the years, and just all these rock and roll crazy stories and road trips that went for days and stuff like that, man. We could go on. I think the statute of limitations is done on most of them that I can think of.
Someone's going to come back and press charges at this point.
Yeah, or whatever,
That's silly, man.
I'm surprised he hasn't gone to jail a few times after some of the stuff he's pulled.
But we have had so much fun. But yeah, getting back to like Eric Ryan and in the Cellar, and I mean Poison and just David Allan Coe, and just who I used to like that used to be down there a lot, and I don't know whatever happened to that guy, Tony C. and the Truth.
Oh,
you remember him with that just a little bit more?
Tony C. and the Truth?
Did it one time or did it two times.
Whatever happened to them?
I don't know, but they used to pack that place.
Yeah, they did.
How about Disco Inferno or Disco Explosion? It was one of them too.
Well, Disco Inferno, there's like 5 of them.
Yeah.
They interchange and they get sent to different areas. There's like it's like
we used to go see Disco at the Cellar, and it would be just the greatest night ever because
I love the mirror with the big pile of baby powder on it. Like those guys killed me. Their setup is hilarious.
Good times down there.
But, and I mean to go from the Cellar and then to getting Packard Music Hall going and getting the Covelli going. And the amp, and I'll tell you, I mean, we are set up for something major.
Yeah.
If somebody really put their minds to it, and you probably need the money. That's what it boils down to. But if somebody
money makes everything happen.
If somebody could really pull off something big, every time even coming down here, I look over there and, I even think of like some of these big bike rallies that we have around and stuff that we could jump in there and really do one with the camping and everything, or even just any kind of like big music festival. I mean, you could do some camping down there. Primitive, of course, but I mean, these people bring these campers or tents, and
it'd be like the Ledges back in the day in Youngstown.
That'd be wicked.
Oh, the Ledges.
Ledges used to be so much fun.
Oh, the craziness, and it hasn't changed. It hasn't changed since day one.
I played the second Joan Fest. We opened the whole day. They scheduled us at noon.
Yeah,
we were a new band. Dennis played with me.
Uh-huh.
We played a 9-minute version of Number 41 by Dave Matthews. Because nobody was there. We started playing, and there's nobody in front of us. We're on that little stage across from the big stage. The beach is on your left.
Yeah.
And we just start playing. The sun's beating the crap out of us. And then all of a sudden, like, we're 2 songs deep. Now there's 20 people in front of us. Now we're 5 songs deep. Now there's like 50, 60 people in front of us. By the time we stopped, there was like 150 people, 200 people in front of us. And they were all just waking up, but they all had like big grins on their faces. And when we got done, they were of course, everybody was baked or drunk. But they were like, that was the best way to wake up ever.
So what were some of the other songs you guys were doing?
Oh, man. We
Wake and Bake at
at that point, we did 41 by Dave Matthews. We probably, going back that far, we probably did Jason Mraz. We probably did... what was that? Where were you done me and you bet I felt it. And then we had originals too. So we probably played 5 or 6 of our originals.
Yeah.
I'm trying to think of what other covers we might have done with Dennis. I mean, we definitely played like Ain't No Sunshine and
you singing Ain't No Sunshine, man. That song was made for you, man.
Oh, I appreciate it.
That's
Bill Withers is the man.
Yeah, that's a good one.
I love Bill Withers.
Yeah.
Lovely Day.
Yeah.
Perfect.
Yeah, we do Lovely Day.
Perfect song.
We do Lovely Day. When I was playing at Susie Dogs and Draft and Boardman, and Alexis Walters on the news.
Yeah,
she was working, she bartended part time, and happened to be there. And I sang that song, and I watched her cringe. And I was it that bad? She goes, "No, that's my least favorite song." Oh, in the whole world? And she's like, "I can't stand that song." So I laughed. So the next time I was there and I played it, she was bartending. I dedicated it to her. I was like, "Did you like my song?" She goes,
So now, once you started playing, after we had the whole Enlightenment and all that kind of thing. So who are some of your influences, and who are what are the bands that you really started getting into?
Yeah, well, I grew up in church, and listen, in high school, it was a lot of the groups. So Boyz II Men, Drew Hill, the Bobby Brown and
New Edition.
Yeah, New Edition. But I'm trying to think of some of the As Yet and all these other R&B groups. Mm-hmm. And then on the flip side, at the same time I was listening to them, I was listening to Nirvana and Soundgarden and Pearl Jam and like the really good albums like 10 by Pearl Jam. That album is like hands down best album ever. Soundgarden, Black Hole Sun, like that album. So it was just both sides of the coin the whole time. And then when I moved away is where I started like dip into like blues a little bit. And when I moved back is where I started really getting heavy and like get influenced by like B.B. King, Jimi Hendrix, the Jimi Hendrix blues, like the Albert King. And then go back even further. I started really in my late 20s, I started to like, I've always been a big proponent of you don't know where you're going till you know where you've been. Yeah. So I started looking into like Leadbelly and Big Mama Thornton and all these old school where blues really came from. Right. Just blowing my mind. And then seeing how classic rock like Zeppelin and the Stones kind of took that sound and like modernized it at that time. Yeah. And that's kind of how those are my influences. I mean, so blues, soul, funk, R&B, and that's what I always say I am. I'm blues, soul, funk, R&B, and rock. That's what we are. Yeah. We're little cornucopia. Yeah. Yeah.
So what can people expect when they come out to Dash In on Saturday night?
A little bit of everything, man. We do covers and originals. We're breaking out some blues tunes. We got some fun songs coming out. My guys are tight. We have a lot of fun together. And I love to make my sax players work, so they can expect a sax heavy and vocal heavy night. We're gonna have a good time. We're gonna throw down. Anybody who's ever seen me knows I can't sit still on stage. So if I'm moving, they're moving. Usually, we get the whole room going. We should have some fun. We're gonna cover some fun stuff, do some old school originals, and we hit some like Nathaniel Radcliffe and some.
There we go.
Yeah.
Okay.
We're gonna throw down, man. Yeah. We're gonna have a good time. I can't even think of everything we're doing, but I mean, I hope to see everybody out 7 o'clock, 7 p.m. It's gonna be a blast, and I know I got a nice group of people coming out that haven't seen me in a long time, and the boys are itching to play. So I hope so.
I think it's going to be a great night, and the place is going to be packed. Dash In, Mahoning Avenue, west side of Youngstown, 7 o'clock showtime. I'd get there a little early, man. Make sure you get a seat.
Yeah, they got good food too.
Will get packed, man. They got good food there and everything. So make a night of it this Saturday, and well, I just want to thank you guys for stopping by.
Fred, I can't thank you enough.
We got to have you back on, man. Those were some interesting stories, some crazy stories. The wrestling stories and just the whole thing, the influence of you singing in church and all that kind of stuff, man. It was a great conversation today.
I appreciate you.
I just want to thank you for stopping by. Tracy Randall, Tracy from the Hood. Always good to see you. You know that, and it's always good to talk to you, except for the Steelers hat. And wait till I talk to my sister. And
you can't talk to her about this. She doesn't listen.
I got to let her know that, this is unacceptable, that she would not only give you the hat and then so that you would just come there and flaunt it in my face.
I did this for her for Mother's Day.
Yeah. Okay.
Mother's Day is coming up.
Yeah. All right. All right.
She's a good girl.
Well, listen, thanks everybody. And boy, it's been a great time. Haas and the Juggernauts haven't been playing out lately, and you're definitely in for a treat. Saturday night, 7:00, dash in Mahoning Avenue. And, we didn't even talk about our libation here.
What
You know what? Usually I have 2 of these down, and I've just been listening to Haas's stories. Yeah, man. And I'm going to finish this down. And you know what? I got to admit, Haas mixed this perfectly, man. I mean, he's okay. He got that bartender's pour, and it was just like, Joe's like, well, you need a shot glass. And Joe's going, no.
I got this, Vince, but I do, man.
Well, cheers, man. Good luck. Haas, once again, thanks. Tracy, good to see you. Joe Danier, thank you.
Thanks, Joe.
We're going to wrap it up, man. Great show, and we'll see you next week.
Thank you.
Thank you for listening to this show on Youngstown Studio. If you like our programming, we invite you to subscribe to our YouTube channel, follow our Facebook page, or subscribe to your favorite podcast platform like iTunes or Spotify. This is original Youngstown content, and we would appreciate you sharing the videos and the word about us. Thank you.